Okay, so while it was fresh on my mind, I wanted to talk to you guys about what I did today when I was out and about. I took my daughter and her friend to a movie, and so I thought, well, okay, I've got 2 hours. Of course, I'm going to shop, and then, I've got to eat lunch. So I thought I'm going to make it a point to talk to, some people about Plexus. And believe it or not, it's not something I love to just walk up to people and strike up a conversation. I know you find that hard to believe, but I talk about Plexus and do Plexus all the time. So sometimes I just need some downtime. So usually when I'm shopping, I'm kind of focused on shopping. But I thought today, okay, I'm going to make a point to, build my business. So when I was in a store, and I was checking out at my new favorite store now, Soma. Thank you, Helen, very much for that new addiction. When I was in this store called Soma, I was checking out, and the lady, I said something like, she said something about where do I live, and I told her that I work for myself. She said, how often do you come to Nashville? I said, as often as I want, because I work for myself. And so that, of course, what do you do? And, I told her what I did. And I said, have you guys ever heard of Plexus? And she said, no, what is it? So that's when I told her, it's a natural product. You put in a bottle of water. You drink it once a day. Tastes like Kool-Aid. It's made with green plants, sweetened with stevia, and flavored with pomegranate and cherry. And what it does is it's helping to regulate glucose levels and help people with their lipid levels. And it's just done amazing things for me and people I know. And so that was they were so excited about the product. They could not wait to go home and look it up, research it, go to my website. The next place that I went that I was really excited about, I was in the Cheesecake Factory and I was eating lunch. And, in there they put you kind of close together. It's kind of a long bench and then tables with chairs on this side. So I was on the bench, and these 3 women were sitting next to me. And I was really close to them, and I was eating alone. And all of a sudden, I start hearing them talk about, well, I'm going to start juicing. Well, I've got to cut back because, I can't fit in my clothes from last summer, and this and that and the other. One of them talked about how expensive it was. They were about to do a 3-day cleanse, how expensive it was. Anyway, I was sitting there thinking, okay, how do I talk to them about this and they not think I'm eavesdropping on them? So I thought, okay, Sonia, just don't say anything. But then I thought, I cannot not say something. I have something that could make a difference for any of them that we're talking and people they know. How could I not at least say something? So I did. So here's what I said. After about 10 minutes there, I said, I just turned to him, and I was about 3 feet from the one woman, and I said, okay. I said, I cannot, how did I say it? Let me see. I said, oh, I am not eavesdropping on you guys. I promise. And I kind of shook my head, and they laughed. I said, but here's the deal. I was hearing everything you guys were saying, and I hear it all the time. And I was in the same boat you're in. I was talking about this stuff a couple years ago, and I just could not leave here without giving you my business card and telling you about what I take. I was very skeptical as well. Have you guys ever heard of Plexus? And they all 3 said, what? What's it called? And I put my thumb up. I went, yes. So they laughed. And I said, let me just tell you a little bit about it. And I told them exactly what I just told you that I told the other gals. Well, it's a little powder you put, and I had some in my purse, of course. So I pulled them out, and I gave them each 1 stick. And I told them what it was, how you did it. And I told them my story. And the one woman said, oh my gosh, I have fibromyalgia so bad that I take morphine to sleep at night. And I told her, I said, I just have chills thinking about what this could do for you. And I had, when I pulled out the Slim, I had the magazine with me. I had One Success from Home magazine with me. And I said, you know what? I said, Plexus is featured in the entire magazine this month. The entire magazine. I showed them the magazine. I said, you can buy it at Barnes & Noble. And I said, in fact, and I turned to the page with me in it, and I said, I know this girl, and I held it up, and they laughed. They're like, oh my gosh, you got to sign it. And I said, oh, I'm not signing it. I said, I just wanted you to see that, it's real. It's a big deal. It's really coming to this part of the country. And they made me sign the magazine, which I thought was a hoot. They were so excited. And I told them, I said, I really hesitated to talk to you because I didn't want, you to think I was trying to sell you something. I just wanted you to know that, you can research it yourself. Here's my card. I could not leave here without doing my part. You don't even have to buy it from me. You just need to check into it. And they said, well, let me tell you something. We are so excited that you talked to us. I do not believe, this one woman, Brenda, she goes, I do not believe that things happen for no reason. I believe this was meant to be. And I said, well, I feel the same way. And she said, how do you share the product? Do you do parties? Do you do events? And I told her about some events I was having in Nashville. And I said, but I've never really done like a home party, but I said, I'm willing to come to your house. If you've got some friends you want me to share it with, if it could change one life, I'm willing to come. She said, oh my gosh, I could get 10 or 15 people together. They were all so excited. So, I looked at her when we were leaving. I said, I'm so glad I opened my mouth. And she said, oh, we are so glad you opened. They all thanked me. We're so glad you opened your mouth too. This was meant to be. I can't wait to go home and check into this. So I just had to share with you all this while it was kind of fresh on my heart, fresh on my mind. Because it just goes to show you, that, it would have been really easy it would have been convenient for me not to have said anything, not to, stir up a conversation. It wouldn't have been easy because it would have bothered me later that I didn't. But what a blessing that I shared this with them. And I think starting out saying, I don't care if you purchase this, I don't care if you buy this from me, I don't care if you do anything with it, but at least I did my part. I heard what you were saying, and I could not have left here without at least doing my part. And I think that right there alone really, really helped the tone of the conversation. And I told them that I was going to share this story, and they were just so excited. So I hope this helps, and I hope it opens your heart and mind more to just knowing that everybody is looking, and all we have to do is listen. And sometimes just open our heart and mind and be sincere and be real. So hope this helps. Go out there and do the same thing.